Well, hello, my lords and ladies, and welcome to another episode of our Warhammer Quest Darkwater series where we're painting some more Pox Wretches. Now, all these Pox Wretches are your basic minions that all have different color schemes, so I'm going to go through them all slowly but surely, because unfortunately, this is not my full time gig. This is my hobby. So we can't get as much out as we want. Anyways, first off, I want to say thank you to all my YouTube members. You guys are absolutely amazing. Can't thank you guys enough. If you're new to the channel, hit that subscribe button. Pretty easy. Without further ado, let's go. All right, the first thing you're going to do is then build your miniature, obviously. And then you're going to get this specific miniature. You're going to put some Stirland Mud down onto the base, and then you're going to spray paint it white or light gray, or you can airbrush it in a white or light gray, whatever you would like. For the skin, we're going to start off with some Reikland Fleshshade, and we're going to put it all over the skin areas. For the hood on our Pox Wretcher, I guess you could say, we're going to do some Soulblight Grey on there, just to give it some depth before we do some highlights in the highlight step. For the bottom skirt area, we're going to be using some Militarium Green, and this is why it's so important to do it in white or a light gray, is because you can put these contrast paints over and it gives it the depth that you need for your miniature. For the wraps on the legs or on the left leg and then the right arm, we're going to do some Seraphim Sepia. For the leather belt that is around the waist and then the straps on the shield, we're going to be using some Garaghak Sewer. You can also use Sigor Brown, but if you use Sigor Brown, make sure that you put some Lahmian Medium in there. For the shield, we're going to do a 50-50 mix of Lahmian Medium and Wyldwood, and then we're going to put that on the front and the back of the shield, minding the metallics on the edges and then on the metallics in the middle of the front of the shield. For the small little pouch on the back, we're going to be doing some Snakebite Leather. And then for the front area, these little, I don't know, symbols or little pieces of armor or armament, whatever they are, we're going to be using some brass balls from P3. You can use whatever brass you would like. I just really like this brass color from P3. You can use whatever brass color you have from either Citadel or Army Painter or whatever you have. For the metallics, that includes the mace and then the edges of the shield and then the little bolts holding in the straps on the shield. We're going to be using some Iron Warriors. That is all you're going to do for our base colors. The only thing I forgot to mention is for the wraps onto the mace, we're going to be using some of that either Wyldwood or Garaghak Sewer, and you can use Garaghak Sewer and the little horn sticking out as well. All right, only a couple washes we're going to do here. For the green areas, we're going to do Athnian Camoshade in there. Very simple. Next, for all of our silver metallics, we're going to do some Nulin Oil. There's absolutely no surprise whatsoever there. And then for all of our brass areas, that you'll see here in the next frame, we'll be doing some Agrax Earthshade on all of those just to give it a little bit more depth. Once you've completed all of those steps, we are going to let it dry, and then we will move on to the highlight phase. All right, for the highlights, we're going to start off with the hood on our Pox Wrencher, I guess you could say. We're going to do some Devout White from P3. I'm not a huge fan of any of the whites from Citadel. They really dry out and clump up. I've just had the worst luck over the years with Citadel, so I try and avoid all their white products. They're just not very dependable. You're ending up spending more money because it dries out or just whatever. So we're going to be going over all the raised areas with this Devout White. And then we are going to not getting anything in the recesses. And we're just going to be painting over the top parts just to give it a little bit more of that subtle white. And then leaving the recesses with that Soulblight Grey that we put in there. For the flesh, we're just going to do a quick highlight of Flayed One Flesh. We don't want to overdo it, so we're really just working on our fingers, the face, a little bit onto the arms, the bicep, and then the toesies and the legs as well. Make sure you thin it down pretty well. So it's not super watery, but it's not super thick. It's just got a nice consistency to it, so you don't overdo it. Obviously, you don't want to go crazy on the skin highlight because they're nasty little creatures. All right, to highlight up our green skirt areas, we're just doing the raised areas. We're doing Ogryn Camo. You can also do Craig Khaki. You can do Elysian Green, whatever flavor you want, but we're going to try and switch it up here. Do some Ogryn Camo, and then we're doing a little bit of edge highlighting on all this and all the raised areas just to give it a little bit more depth. For the straps, you can dry brush this if you want. I just did some Baneblade Brown on those straps. You can also do this a little bit onto the grips of our Morning Star or Falling Star that our Pox Wretches is holding onto, and a little bit onto the belt as well. For the wraps, we are going to go over with some Screaming Skull. You can also use Ushabti Bone if you want to not go as light as I did, but that is up to you. Either or will suffice. We're gonna do a little bit of a dry brush, and we're gonna do this onto the shield. You can also do this a little bit onto the skirt area, the Morning Star area, and then also the horn that is sticking out of some Karak Stone. This just adds a little bit of more depth. It's not gonna mess anything up. It's not gonna make it look crazy. It's just gonna give you some more um, edge and dry brush highlighting, I guess I can say. I don't know. You know what I mean. For our silvers, we're just going to put some Canoptek Alloy on there. Shouldn't be a problem. It brightens it up quite a bit, but gives it a nice little look on it. For the metallics, you can use this on the shield metallics too if you would like, but I just did it onto the metallic of the Morning Star, Falling Star, whatever this is, mace, I don't know. And we're just going to use some Ryza Rust. Now, this is an optional step. If you want to do it, you can. I think it looks better if you don't do it, but I did it anyway because you have so many of these to paint. Just one of those things to look at. I'm just trying to trace the inner circle, the spiral in the mace, and I'm putting this on some of the brass areas just to give it that oxidized look. So the Nihlakh Oxide. All right, I took some very watered down red, some Baal Red, and put it onto that wrap. And then for the base, I'm just doing a 50-50 mix of Drakenhof Nightshade and Nulin Oil, and I'm putting it onto that base, but you could do whatever colors you would like. And your favorite part of painting the miniature, because it means you're almost done, and we are almost done because we have one more step, is the rim of the base. I am doing mine in Abaddon Black, but you can do yours whatever color you would like. And then to just match the color scheme on Warhammer.com, we're doing some blood for the blood god onto that wrap just to make it look all bloody and messy, as if our Pox wrench was stabbed through and is bleeding through. But that's it. That's all she wrote right there. Not too hard, not too shabby. We do have a lot of these to paint, so they are going to take some time. But again, it's an enjoyable hobby that we do. It's just to help you along your way. So, well, I hope you enjoyed that quick little video. We have a lot more of those to do. We're over 50% done with the Darkwater Quest stuff. So we've got a lot more to do, especially the big bad bosses, the bigger minions, and then we will be on our way to something else. More Warhammer in the future, I guarantee it. But again, I want to say thank you to all my YouTube members, all of my subscribers, anybody who shares this, anybody who sends it to a friend. I can't thank you enough. We have a lot more stuff coming up. Still got to finish Elden Ring. I know. Chronicles of Dronagar, a whole bunch of stuff. But until next time, I love you all. And paint on.